in today's video we are going to be reviewing none other than episode 2, yes, episode 2 of the Moonknight. Hello guys and welcome back to Dylan's Little Hobbies.
Subscribe to Dylan's Little Hobbies right now.
Let me tell you, this has got to be the best thing I've seen from Marvel in a while. Let's talk about it. Alright, so we of course got Steve Grant. He wakes up hoping it's just a dream, but of course it's not. Yeah, he remembers everything. He heads to work, hopefully to find, some evidence that he's not crazy. Turns out he's got no evidence because while he can see it, obviously it's not physically there. It's physically there, but what I mean is normal people are not going to be able to see the gods and see the monsters and everything else. So he looks like a total idiot that destroyed the toilet in the bathroom, the sink in the bathroom. That's it. That's all he looks like. When he comes out of the bathroom in the footage, he realizes, though, that's not him. That's Mark. He then figures out, you know what? I gotta go figure out what Mark's been up to. He goes to Mark's storage unit, and there he finds, of course, the beatle, a patch bag with a gun, and it's like, well, what the heck? A couple other things that Mark probably stole, identity, some cash, all of this crazy stuff. Real robbery. Yep, real robber. That's what he finds. And he's like, what the heck is this? And then, of course, Mark shows up in the mirror. Steve was already expecting him, and he's like, he just wants to know what's going on. Mark doesn't really want to tell him. Mark, is like, hey, you know what? Just forget that you saw this. Go lay down and let me take over the body. Nope, not gonna do it. Steve doesn't even want to fall asleep ever again. He doesn't want to give Mark control. Runs out, and guess what? And that's where Khonshu, I'm probably pronouncing that name wrong, but the moon goddess of Egypt comes out, says hello. He's the big crazy voice from last episode. He's the big bird-like beak thing we saw from last episode, of course, being the Egyptian moon god that is there to hopefully, his whole goal is to hopefully strike justice to the world. That's his whole thing, is justice. But Steve doesn't know that at this point. Steve just sees a big scary bird monster. I'd be scared of a big scary bird monster as well, even if it was a god. Even more if it was a god. So, yeah, he runs away, and he runs into Mark's girlfriend? Actually, more than that, he runs into Mark's wife. Yep, wife. Of course, she doesn't understand that this is not Mark, that this is Steve Grant. Steve Grant never had a wife, never had a girlfriend, let alone a wife, so he's really confused by this. Obviously, Mark and Steve are literally two different people stuck in the same body. What's happening there? Why is that the case? We don't know just yet. We'll find out later. They go back to his place. He tries to explain what's going on. She, of course, thinks he's just putting on an act, doesn't believe him, and oh boy, that's when the cops show up and try to take him away. turns out though, the cops are not working for him. The cops are working for the quote-unquote villain, which we get to understand his motives and his backstories. He really makes it clear what he wants to do. First off, he was the avatar for, of course, the avatar for the moon god before Mark took it, before, of course, Steve Grant took it. And, you know, while he can't hear him or see him or anything like that, he's been with them long enough. He knows what he's going to say about, you know, being the god of justice and all this and that. So he kind of makes fun of it. He shows Steve around and, you know, talks about his whole plan. So when it comes to Khonshu, he wants to punish the wicked, but Ahmed already knows who's going to be the wicked and wants to eat him. And I mean, it's kind of like that old saying, right? If a baby was gonna grow up and cause massive genocide, massive evil, would you kill the baby right then and there, or would you wait till it grows up? Because here's the thing, it does have a chance to grow up and possibly not do that. So if you're killing a baby, aren't you eviling yourself, even though you're killing the baby for a good reason, because the baby would grow up to be the greatest evil on the planet. So the question is there, would you actually do that? But of course, that's what Ahmed wants to do, that's what our villain wants to do, and Steve's like, yeah, you know what, now that I've gotten a chance to sit down and think about it and actually hear about this, he's not into murdering children. He's not into killing kids. So he decides, you know what, I'm going to just run. That's right, I'm just gonna run. That's right, I don't want any part of this. Problem is, of course, he's the avatar for Khonshu. He's stuck with Mark behind him. So yeah, we got problems there. And then of course Mark's girlfriend shows up again. I keep saying girlfriend. Mark's wife shows up again, tells him he needs to put on the suit, and eventually, just, you know, to hopefully give him some comfort, she actually calls him Steve. She doesn't understand this whole situation now. Steve Grant finally pulls out the suit, which I guess is the power that he is given by Khonshu, which means, does that mean that Steve Grant and Mark were always broken? Or was it a case that Mark was the original and Steve Grant was a concept that was made after Mark died? I don't know what's going on there. That has to be explained within the future, what actually happened there. But the suit comes out, and it was hilarious that he's like in a nicely dressed suit instead of like an Egyptian warrior suit. He's dressed in this really, really hilarious like ballroom dance suit, and he has to use that suit to fight the jackals that are coming after him, of course. But eventually he learns, you know what, he's not gonna be enough. So he gives the power back to Mark, gives the body back to Mark, and Mark uses the suit to kick Jack butt. That's right. And then after that, he gets to, of course, talk to Steve Grant. Steve is in the mirror. He now understands what Mark goes through being in the mirror. It's not great. Doesn't want to be there. Wants to be back in control of the body, but Mark can't give him that power back yet. And then we actually get, of course, Khonshu, Honshu, whatever his name is, the Egyptian bird god from the moon. He comes back, and believe me, I used to be a huge fan of Egyptian lore. I do know about the moon god. I just cannot pronounce names, ever. Don't get me for messing up the name, because I'm gonna mess up the name no matter what. At this point, it's actually pretty funny calling him Khonshu, but hey, he was the moon god of Egypt, so give him some respect. So he comes in, and he's like, hey, you know what? I thought it wasn't gonna be a problem. You're messing up our deal, and you know, he wants Mark forever, basically. He wants Mark to be his avatar, to stop Ahmed from returning. We find out from the other guy that he was laughed off from all of the other gods and stuff like that. And I mean, you know what, gods in Egypt, gods in Marvel, that's not such a big deal. We had Greek gods, then we have Egyptian gods. Why not? It's not that big of a deal. But I do like this character, and I am starting to like Mark. Now, Mark is being the Avatar because if he isn't the Avatar, then his girlfriend, his wife, is going to be the next Avatar for him, and he doesn't want that. He wants to protect her. Now Steve Grant has brought her into this mess. Of course, he has that to deal with, not to mention, he has to deal with Steve Grant. So it's such a blast. I really did like the episode. It was tons of fun. Tons of lore was dropped. We understand a lot more about Mark. We understand a lot more about the Moon God. And Khonshu even says that when he first met him, he was a dead body. So Mark literally belongs to him. Steve Grant belongs to him. But what does that mean? Does that mean Mark died and Steve Grant came to take over the body, and then Khonshu found the body and brought back Mark? I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and find out what happens there. I'm giving this episode a 9 out of 10. I almost want to give it a 10 out of 10 because it was that entertaining. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 and cool my excitement a little bit, but this was such a good episode. I really did enjoy what we are getting in episode 2 of Moon Knight. I'm really enjoying Moon Knight a lot more than I thought I was going to. So I can't wait to see episode 3 next week. Let me know down in the comments below, what did you think of this episode? And with that said, like, share, and subscribe like always, because I am going to be reviewing more of these for sure. I absolutely love this show. Thank you guys for watching, and I am out. Bye.
Subscribe to Dylan's Little Hobbies right now.